Approve.
Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We have here Michaela, Ana Carolina, Daniel, Justina, Valéria, Bianca, Jordana, Jéssica, Skylar, Mary. Hello, everyone.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Hi, Mayenda.
Hi, nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. We'll wait till a few more people populate, and then in a few minutes, I'll make an introduction, and then we'll get started. Super excited.
Yeah, sounds great. You almost need some waiting music.
Yeah.
I could sing, but then everyone would leave. So we don't.
I think if someone wants to introduce themselves and tell where you guys are speaking from until we wait for more people.
We got some people here in the chat. Cape Town, South Africa. We have Belize. I know this is going to be a very international crowd, as we always have, which is amazing because different perspectives, different engagement. Romania, Switzerland. I'll say Boca Raton, Florida. Brazil, France. Hi, Anna. Jessica, Jules from New York City. This is the awesome thing, honestly, about our community and all these incredible people here everywhere. Norway.
Love that.
Amazing. And it's going to be incredible. Digital skills is what everybody needs. Everybody really needs this, especially not only today, but for the future. More and more, it's just going to accelerate. And we couldn't be more excited to partner with you and me, Teal, Mayenda, to do this.
Yeah, it's a pleasure for sure.
What we can always do, because we're 4 minutes in, and I'm sure people will be popping in throughout, but 25 now, but it's just going to keep going up. Just so that everyone already here, I feel like we can get started because people will come in, they'll engage, you know, and I know Pedro is going to do an incredible job at moderating this talk, this conversation, this, you know, everything that's going to happen here today. So I'll just get started with everyone who's here already as we wait for more people to come in, and just welcome everybody. I'm Jordana Guimarães. I'm the co-founder of Fashion Innovation, and we always, you know, really believe in technology and innovation to move the fashion industry forward in the direction that it should go. And so we partner with incredible companies such as MeTail that's putting this together for us today in digital skills. And I'm just really thrilled and excited because I always say, you know, people are key, and having all of you involved in this conversation and be able to interact and really engage with each other as we listen to all of the wonderful things that Mayenda has prepared for us. It's really how we get to a solution. It's when different minds come together from especially different parts of the world, different backgrounds. You know, that's why inclusivity also is so important. So thank you all so much for being here. I'm going to now shut my mic off and hand it over to Mayenda to introduce herself. And then Pedro will take it from here forward to moderate and continue this. So super excited to see how it goes. And thank you all again so much for being here.
Thank you, Jordana. Thanks everybody for being here today. It's really amazing to have everybody from all corners of the world joining, and it's exciting to speak to you virtually. Yeah, so I'm just going to get straight into the presentation, and as part of that, I'm going to do my introduction just to give you guys an idea of what Metel is all about, as well as myself. So hopefully you can see my screen okay. If anybody can't, just do let me know.
It's perfect.
It's perfect. Thank you. So yeah, I'm really pleased to be tackling or like starting the conversation around this topic of digital skills. And from our perspective, this is just the beginning of the conversation. It's by no way the definitive, but just wanted to share with you some ideas that we've had at Metel. In the past, I would say from the beginning of this year, we've been just looking at different reports and studies and trying to take a view from all the trends that we've seen, some main trends, what that might mean for our industry. So I'm really pleased to share this with you. I'm going to cover a lot. It's going to be a flying past some areas, but I just want to say everybody, all the content that I'm going to cover, apart from it being recorded, we're going to produce a PDF. So don't worry about having to capture everything, but I hope you will enjoy it. And yeah, thanks again to the Fashion Innovation team as well for hosting us. So before I go into digital skills, I'm just going to give a quick introduction to Metel and who we are. We are a company whose mission is using technology for positive change in the apparel industry. And my name is Mainda. I'm a senior product manager here at Metel, and you can connect with me on LinkedIn. It's always great to meet new people. And yeah, just do send me an invitation or comments after this event so that we can continue the conversation. So what does Metel do? In summary, we digitize and visualize people, clothes, and we put those together. And that is essentially what Metel does. It's bringing these two elements, people, clothes, and putting them together. And that's what our company has been doing since 2008. So we are still a startup of 12 people. We're UK based in Cambridge in London. And over the years that we've been going, we've been granted technology patents that we've used to develop e-com model imagery solutions, fit advice, and virtual try-ons. And in 2019, we were acquired by our main investor, and that made us sort of take a direction of focusing on 3D technology specifically and releasing a product in the market that's called EcoShot, which is a virtual photo studio. So just going quickly, what EcoShot does is have 3D designers show their garments on people so that they can communicate and sell their design sustainably. And that's really important for us to have the opportunity to use our technology to help people transform their workflows and the way they present their garments, especially now in 3D, and sell and do that sustainably. So we've partnered with Browseware, who are a CAD software company. And this is just a screenshot of what it looks in the software. So if you're a designer using the software, you can use our digitized avatars, who are real models, to create imagery directly from the software and take those images all the way to e-com, as some of our clients have been able to do. And with 3D, expand and do new things like show garments across more sizes and more diversity. And as Jordana said, inclusivity is really important, and using 3D and using a library of models that we have, we're able to offer customers this solution. Right, so back to digital skills. So as I said before, we looked at different reports and we're just digging through some trends and pulled up some trends that we've seen reported over the past year, really. Four themes came to mind: digitalization, data, sustainability, and the shifting workforce. So I'm going to go through these themes, but they're by no means the only things that are happening, but I think they just help to anchor us and see what that means for jobs and skills and opportunities in our industry. And yeah, so moving into digitalization specifically to start with. There are no signs of slowing down for digital. In terms of investments across industries, it's being reported that digital transformation investments are going to go to 2.8 trillion in 2025. So big numbers, audacious sounding numbers, can't get my head around it. But what does that mean for fashion industry specifically? So we've taken that big number and tried to narrow down and look at specific things when it comes to digitalization. And we've looked at the use of digital assets as an example. We've seen the growth of digital assets, particularly in the last 18 months. And I know I'm not saying anything new and anything that you haven't seen, especially in the past week with, past few weeks, sorry, with the Metaverse Fashion Week and more assets being shared online. But I wanted to just like look at this brand Hanifa as an example. What was really impressive for us was the timeline. So if you haven't seen Hanifa, I'm just going to play a little bit from their Instagram page in terms of I don't know whether that's a good idea with my broadband, but yeah, it looks like it's showing well. So they were doing these virtual fashion shows as early as December 2020. And we're reflecting on the fact that what was going on at the time, we were just coming, obviously at the time, nobody can forget the pandemic, but it was really interesting that obviously by the time they got to December, a brand like this was able to do the entire collection digitally and present a virtual showroom as early as 2020. Now, since then, we know that more investment has gone into it, digital creation, more experimentation, which is really great to see. So we know that there are already demand in skills to do this sort of work in 2D design, in CAD, and with digital assets and all the myriad of tools that come with it. But what more is required? The interesting thing that we found is that apart from those creating of digital assets, there are more job adverts asking for digital skills that are from non-IT functions. That's a huge number. It's starting to sound like it's going to affect each and every one of us just as part of our jobs needing to have digital skills. So in fashion specifically, what does that mean? It means us asking ourselves questions about how will digital assets be created and distributed? How will these assets be sold or used for selling? How will the assets be maintained, especially legally? And on our side, when we do model digitization, we have to think about the model rights, the copyrights, managing that and passing on those rights to our customers as an example. So with all these assets that we are using, how do we maintain, IP and who manages what? We also need a strong architectural strategy for buying the right tools and for seamless integration. And also, how will we make sure that all employees are well trained to manage these digital assets on top of doing their day job, which is a challenge when we speak to customers about the solutions that we're providing or that we're collaborating with. Many times we find that the extra digital skills, people are expected to gain those alongside their day job, and that is a challenge. So how will we make sure everybody is well trained as all these skills and the proliferation of tools and things that are required? How do we make sure everybody is well trained? So those are the questions that come up when it comes to skills and gaining those skills. And we do see that with all the digitalization and digital assets specifically, we have more opportunities and new business models, which we obviously want to pursue. So the growth of the creator economy, I know it's been spoken about a lot with lots of new platforms and social media platforms especially, co-creating with customers. We've seen that customers have a hunger to get involved, and they are companies that are already venturing into that with a very purposeful strategy and customization that's being done by companies like Nike. all these are new business models that we need skills to take advantage of. So, as I said, we have looked at that trend and tried to sort of look ahead to 2025 and think about what the interesting jobs are going to be in the future. Some of these are open to, change of a job title or think what that might mean for your company. But we're looking at these trends in terms of the need to customize, the need to build communities, dealing with influencers who a lot are coming in from these creators who are now gaining for themselves reputation and skills that we can learn from. The metaverse is obviously a big, big, big topic. And again, that we have events, people speaking about this almost on a daily basis. With the metaverse, obviously, it depends on the context, but in essence, it's like being immersive and being able to collaborate and engage consumers. What about the technologies and the futurists who have to look ahead? We have digital asset product managers that are needed. That particular role is not new, but we are seeing that more and more of that is needed. And then just freelancers in general. I did an event for our higher education institution last week, and they were asking about what skills their graduates need to do to work in the metaverse. And to be honest, like I was saying, that you will not necessarily see a job title as a metaverse something, but it's just that being able to contribute into that creative space is what's going to be needed. And in many cases, it's going to be on a freelance basis because companies don't know yet necessarily what they're going to want to do as far as the metaverse is concerned. Let me just move that out of the way. Right, so moving on to data. So data was the second theme that we looked at. And again, data as an industry is a big one and also a driver for change. The industry continues to grow, and by 2027, is expected to grow to $103 billion. What I found interesting looking at data generally is that it's sought after across all industries, and fashion is only one of them. So we are competing for talent across industries. It's not just in fashion, but it's definitely one that is key for us as well. So I really like this quote that came out of a study by McKinsey. Data-driven enterprises of the future will free up employees to focus on human domains. Human domains around creativity, innovation, experimentation. I think we would say we all feel like that's what we want to do more, and less of the repetitive tasks that we probably do not enjoy, and so maybe those could be automated. But with these opportunities of having more freedom, what are we going to do with that freedom? So in fashion, I think we're looking to do more experimentation, more innovation, and think about how we'll design products better and which trend predictions are relevant for our business. And with that, we want to also understand customers better and use insights in a meaningful way. What it does mean, as I said already, there is a high demand for data skills, very much so. Already with any back-end functions within a business, they are needed. Things like understanding manufacturing bottlenecks, predicting sales trends, and so forth. We already know there's high demand in this, but what else do we need data and data skills for? Truth is that all functions will see disruption from data-driven decision-making. If you're not working with the data in your day-to-day work or in your role or within your team, it's definitely coming, and there's no escaping it. And maybe we don't want to escape it, we want to take opportunities. So we've tried to sort of think about how that might look like in our industry, and specifically in a fashion example. So we're thinking about, as an example, maybe stylists using data-driven digital tools to create customized wardrobes based on aesthetic preferences that customers have. And what if, in addition to that, we could add lifestyle and local climate considerations if we can pull the data in? And then on top of that, be able to recommend size and visualize garment try-on further. So in terms of those tools for stylists, they're already there, and you do get suggestions of what to buy, but it can become smarter, it can become more useful for customers, and it can be contextual. And we definitely think that there'll be need for data across more and more creative roles, as well as technical roles. So in terms of the the jobs that are going to be driven by data, in addition to the ones I already mentioned, we think jobs like garment technologists, with them being able to understand fabrics and materials and being able to bring that more into that very upstream design process is important. We see that consumer psychologists might need to have more data to be able to work with customers and be able to see their behavior and insights and make that meaningful to the business. Data collection, there are people already doing this work, but probably need to improve the way they do it and make sure it flows through the company within a meaningful way. And customer relationship managers as well. In addition to consumer psychologists, anybody who's got that interface or working with data about consumers, we feel they'll need to have better data skills. So skills that are needed by everyone is architecting products with data collection in mind already, thinking about the data lifecycle management, and knowledge of visualization tools, because data can feel very abstract. And if there are no tools to communicate within the company and with colleagues, then it's not as powerful. So being able to use tools like Tableau and Power BI will be something that more and more people outside the business function will need to be able to be confident in manipulating. So I'm going to move on to the next theme of sustainability. Sustainability, again, is a theme that I think so far it's very important that we pay attention to it. It has been not negative, but negative in the way people respond to it in terms of understanding what the fashion industry is doing. We wanted to look at what the opportunities are, but I'll just start with this number, 1987. I wonder whether anybody can guess what it stands for. I know we're all virtual, you can't raise your hand, but this was the first official definition of sustainable development by the UN in the Brundtland Report. And I heard this discussed in a podcast the other day, and it occurred to me that I hadn't perhaps thought about when sustainability became a more public, sort of entered the public discourse. Of course, it's been thought about for hundreds of years, but 35 years ago is when we started thinking about, on a global level, about sustainability. And like everything, it seems it takes 35 years to start trickling down. And what does this mean for companies? We've seen widening definitions of sustainability. It goes beyond environmental concerns, geographical diversity. It is now increasing, that role is getting bigger for chief sustainability officers, but looking at diversity executives as well, and risk managers. The first chief sustainability officer was appointed by DuPont in 2004. And it's reported that now 9 in 10 of the FTSE 100 have one. I think that it's encouraging, and I think we will probably see more and more companies looking for somebody to have a position in the C-suite that looks at sustainability specifically, if they don't already. So how are our roles in fashion going to be affected? We think that sustainability teams will need to be more digitally savvy to do their roles. And by that, I mean from data all the way to reporting. So, and we also think that everyone from merchandisers to brand managers will need a base level of environmental, social, and governance skills. So, it's going to be like digital transformation where it like touches everybody. It's not going to be just a function that's like in a corner of the company or just at a leadership level, but I think everybody will need to be able to have a level of sustainability and show how it affects the job they do and the function they do and how it contributes overall to the company. And the good news and something really positive, a positive story, is that sustainability and innovation is creating new roles. I mean, the fact that the resale of clothes being done online has become in itself such a big industry is really exciting. And we see that the estimation for the projection for where this is going is predicted to be over 40 billion already this year, and it's going to grow and continue growing to, all the way to 25 and beyond. So we think that it's creating new roles, and that is a really positive thing. With this, obviously, with the resale of clothes, we need to think about the platforms processing all that data, categorization of garments and their materials and so forth. And therefore, actually an area that we all need to understand, because if we're going to participate in these areas, we need those sustainability, whatever it may mean in your context, because there isn't one definition, and every company will need to define what sustainability means for them as a company, but also down to individual functions. And as I said, if we're going to participate in these new business opportunities with new roles, we'll need the knowledge there as well. Another interesting and positive, let me just see what I can. No, I'm not going to do that. Go back. With the increase of sustainability awareness, it's great to see that there are more companies coming up that offer digital monitoring and reporting tools. So companies like Provenance, Novi, Supply Compass. And I was just hearing about Dayrise for the first time on BBC Click over the weekend. So it's great to see that these companies now that help to collect the data and analyze it and help companies use it are coming on board. But as they give us more tools, then we need more digital savviness to use these tools. So transformation in sustainability, as I say, it's been 35 years, it's going to continue. And the jobs that we think might emerge from that are these sustainability transformation leads. In the same way that we've had digital transformation leads, we see more people taking those senior roles in sustainability transformation. And as I said, it's a skill that's going to be needed by all. And until governments enforce standards or industry enforces standards, we will continue to have to define what sustainability means for us, for ourselves, within our companies as things evolve. So the last theme, the shifting workforce. Just the fact that we are here from around the world on Zoom means that we are working differently already. And so it's not going to be a surprise that one of the things that is coming up as having an impact on the global workforce is that where products are conceptualized, where we are designing products, thinking about them, sharing innovation, where the products are being conceptualized and consumed is changing because the economic power is changing around the world. So as people are able to participate more in the economy, build themselves up economically, they're able to also influence where products are consumed and where they're imagined. And we've seen new cultural hubs for homegrown and international designers coming from other parts of the world, in Africa, in Asia, in South America, and so forth. There is a preference towards local brands and products, and that is across the globe. I think that idea of supporting local businesses and getting very interested in what is happening closer to home is something that was driven obviously by the pandemic, but that will continue to grow. And then the exciting thing, especially with upcoming creative designers, they're starting off as being digitally native and sustainability first, and that is very exciting. We talk about this idea of leapfrogging, obviously if you're an established business with established workflows and how your stock moves around the world, it takes time to transition. But if you're producing locally and using things locally, the opportunities to be sustainable first and kind of work differently is something that's open to new brands and creators. Second thing is obviously the growth of the gig economy. Increasing freelancers, the increase of remote working, can't say the word, is increasing. And again, just in 4 years, the gig economy value is going to double from the number in 2018. Something that is obviously critical for all of us to think about is what the skills are needed for that, what opportunities are there to work with people from around the world. And we've seen, so this was a quote by the Business of Fashion, a headline from one of their articles. They say, post-pandemic, the fashion industry will rely on freelancers more than ever. So if you're a brand owner, brand leader, somebody with a leadership position within a brand, you might be thinking about things like, how do we collaborate with local designers? How do we understand the specifics of each economy? How do we monitor the labor laws? And how do we plug into those provenance reporting tools? Because if people are going to care about where their goods come from, where the materials come from, who's worked on creating the products, we do need to be using those reporting tools in a more, I guess, savvy way, in a way that informs the business. And then how are we going to realize the benefits of working in an evolving world and taking advantage of cutting edge tech work that is hard to hire for? This is a big opportunity for companies to rethink this idea of having to do everything for themselves. The fact that we can do things remotely, we can meet, we can connect, means that if you don't have the skills you need in-house, especially those high-tech skills that are coming up and changing all the time and new tools, it's an opportunity to think how to hire for them and how to bring people in to collaborate with. So these are all things that we need to think about. So the skills that are most likely to be freelanced. So again, this is our take, and maybe you will have different ideas and different things about the different comments about the freelancers that you're using already. But we think data-oriented skills will be more likely to be freelance. As I said, the competition for talent is across all industries. So being able to work on projects and bring people up, maybe to set up your data processes and then be able to move on to something else and then come back after you've made some progress is probably something that's going to happen more and more. Blockchain, crypto, all that area that is evolving and emerging. Again, it's very interesting to see how some people have gone really deep very quickly in gaining expertise, but it's an area that brands need to move with caution. Not everybody needs to go and start creating NFTs if it's not clear what the strategy is for your business. But at the point where you want to explore this, maybe get a freelancer, somebody with expertise who's worked with different brands, different consultancies to come and give some advice. And then I use the term metaverse again, sort of cautiously, but that whole idea of content creation, community curation. So on the content creation, 3D, AR, XR generally, those immersive experiences, but also managing that infrastructure and building those communities is probably, again, something that's going to be freelance to people who love to play in these spaces and these environments. So let me just have a look at the time, concluding very soon. We wanted to think about these big themes and then the example of the types of jobs, and then think about an example of a use case in the future, in the not so long future, 2, 3, 4 years. What might that mean for a fashion brand? So we were thinking about the idea of a digital twin of your wardrobe, say as a consumer, that it has information about what you already have. It is platform agnostic. And therefore, when you go out to do your shopping, whether it's online or online, that twin of your twin or the twin of your wardrobe is able to to show you what would work and what would work with things that you already want to buy, or give you some advice so that you're not just buying the same dress that you think you like that you already have. It's almost like a virtual stylist. And then this information could be shared with stylists, and they could look at that information about what's influencing you to purchase. And you might be very interested in buying from sustainable brands. There are platforms that are already sort of like you're able to filter down and choose maybe the types of brands you want to buy from, the price range. But we were thinking the missing part is that you can't see what you already have in your wardrobe and marry that with your helping you to make your purchase decision. So what if all this information could be shared with stylists who are interrogating data, whether it's specific for customers or across their whole portfolio of products? And then data scientists and experts within the company can help, make that online experience more intelligent, so allows customers perhaps to take their avatars across platforms and continue that shopping experience online and then offline as well. And offline means not just the physical clothes, but we've seen more and more companies, including companies like Amazon, opening up stores that are using interactive tools that are able to show you how something might look using a VR or AR headset with something you might already have at home and being able to play with that. So we think that, like, if you can think about that scenario, you'll see that those skills that we've generally talked about, digitalization, data, sustainability, and being able to work online, offline, comes together. It's just one idea that we are sharing, and it'd be great to see what other ideas people have been thinking about already. So my conclusion, just for now, it's by no means a conclusion to this topic, is that global trends will affect all companies, no matter what your size is, and smaller businesses have that opportunity, as I say, to bypass the industry debt and be digitally native and sustainability first if they choose to go down that route. We need to continuously build our skills and invest in tools. I feel that myself, and I think, like, when I think about the customers and other people in the community that we've spoken about, that idea of continuously building your skills is important. But as I said before, making the time and making sure that this is that people create the time to do this training and it's part of your day job is very important. Otherwise, I think it will be tricky to make progress. And then we will all continue to transition to an ever more digital, data-led, and sustainability-aware world. So that is not stopping by any means. And because we are a global workforce, continuous learning and collaboration is key across, not just across geographies, but I think interdisciplinary. So we need the hard technical skills, but we need the social sciences and humanities, because at the end of the day, we're building for humans, we're working with humans, and it's important that empathy and other skills, ethics, and so on are brought into our product design processes, as well as how we design our businesses and business models. So I'm going to stop there. And as I said, we will share the full report in more detail, but I'm going to stop now so that we have time for a conversation.
Thank you so much, Mainda. Incredible, incredible, incredible. Yeah, you brought 4 main topics that I truly believe it's also where the industry is going forward to. And I wanted to kick off the questions here to see which reference you use the most, to gather all this information, which one was the main one, and also how you came up, how we came up with the idea of going deep into this research.
I think it just started off with curiosity, to be honest. I think that, I mean, we're a small team, we're a small startup. We do have, skills in-house, but we definitely, every year we rely on getting interns and they bring in great sort of skills, whether it's social media or very deep skills, machine learning and so forth. But this whole idea of like, we are already very used to collaborating. So I think it just started off with the curiosity of what is going on at the moment and how do we prepare better for the future? Because to be honest, I think people are interested in future-proofing themselves, maybe as in a job or future-proofing their business. But the reality is that everything is moving so fast. So we're trying to think like, look at what's happening and try to predict as such and see where we might be able to pull in skills when we need them. And also show what skills we have. So in terms of like the research, we did look at, because we were looking at trends, so reports like from Statista, Gartner, and then we looked at specific ones, industry, like I said, business of fashion, PR Week and so forth. So we looked at different industry reports and then sat down and did a lot of brainstorming to say, so what does that mean for fashion then in the context that we understand? Many of these things are not unique to the fashion industry, but trying to do that sort of like translation of what might it mean for jobs is what we try to do.
Love that. Anyone wants to jump in? We had a question here on the chat from Jessica Joes asking, where are you guys based?
Okay, we are based in Cambridge in the UK. And if you haven't been to Cambridge before, it's about an hour on the train from London. So we have colleagues in London, colleagues in Cambridge, but we are also, I think we think like a remote first company. I worked for the month of January in Kenya because it was 2 years before since I saw my family. So we've had colleagues who've been able to spend time at home and continue working. So yeah, based here in the UK, but certainly work with people all around the world.
Incredible. Anyone have any other question? I just want to say something real quick here, is that Niteo and Fashion Innovation also created a quick forum for us to go deep into this research on a second level research, because this first one was a first level research. And I'm going to send here on the chat for you guys to fill out and share with us also your perspective. And you can share also inside your organization with colleagues and everyone. Just for you guys to know, we'll also send this for you directly after this conversation. And if no one, if someone wants to ask any question, feel free. Daniel, I see you there. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you for presentation. Because I'm working in, as you see, haptic means perception of virtual reality in the real world. In terms of innovation, because I bring innovation on the market. And what I see in presentation, actually, it's a business to consumers, and it's not business to business. And consumers is not in terms of fashion. They want to feel the garments. But before to do that, how digitalization help final customers? It's about information. Check what others customers saying, to check if there is available a size, what colors, how is looking on the other people. But you see, people are different. Not all of them are looking like a photo model. This is clear. It's not like a presentation website. Of course, where you have XL, XXL, XM, I don't know, different types of size, but people are different. When you look at their body, are not the same, are not like a photo model. So that's why they prefer to go to check in magazines. That's a difference. So what we can bring here in terms of digitalization, it's immersion. Use that spatial wardrobe using augmented reality as well. check in a mirror how is looking a dress before to buy and to go in a cabin to check. Here it's already working more innovators, and I think very soon, sooner or later, will show up on the market. Even me, as I told you, I'm already working with a fashion designer from Poland, already submit innovation proposal for fundings. We need to discuss also about fundings for innovation. It's not enough just to talk about it. If there is no such fundings, no money in the game, we talk for nothing. So we need to attract also investors.
And Daniel, what is your main question for Mainda and regarding digital fashion
Mainda,
skills for 2025?
For my part, I wanted to see more related business to business than business to consumer, because we already know what is happening on the market, but it's important business to business to have innovation on the market.
So, okay, so just a general comment that is that we as a company work actually business to business, not business to consumers, but obviously our customers work with consumers. So in the example I was giving you in the design software, that software is used during the design process. So you could, I mean, it's browseware, the design software. It's used during the design process in creating virtual samples, as an example. But what we've seen with digital assets, instead of just using them for that virtual sampling process, as an example, is that you can take the same sample that you've used with your manufacturers in terms of trying out the technical design of a garment. And with 3D design, we're looking at things like garment physics and how that we're trying to bring true to life properties as much as possible into software, true to life in real life. So it's true that consumers need real life information. So we've tried to use technology to capture those properties. In the business to business side of it, we are doing that virtual sampling process and solving a problem there, because in the creating of garment samples, there's the shipping of samples back and forth in the world. If I were to go for like how it happens in real life, if you're going to do that with a virtual sample, then you're able to communicate very quickly and cut, instead of creating 7 samples for every garment, cut that to maybe 1 or 2. Now that asset, instead of then creating a physical sample just for photography, that same asset could be used all the way to show a consumer, because it's true to life in terms of how much information, in terms of pattern, the body that is put on. So you made a good point about people are not the same. And it's something that us as a company, we've tried to capture. So the example I gave of shape diversity, we have scanned models and photographed them of different sizes and ethnicities and shapes, and try to put that in the software so that people can show that variety. So there is still a lot of work to be done between B2B, but B2C. But I think in terms of skills, I don't see that they're entirely different if you're working B2B or B2C. In terms of funding, it was interesting that you were talking about the need for innovation funding. We have taken advantage of European funding. So we are part of the eTrion project, where we are developing a magic mirror. We are looking at AR virtual try-on. And I would encourage anybody who's interested to see what's coming out of that project. It's called eTrion, to go and have a look. And again, working with partners. Some of the solutions are for helping designers, so in B2B context, and some of them are for consumer applications.
Okay, thank you for the explanation. Maybe, who knows, maybe we can work together in future projects. I already have such kind of innovation proposal, because I'm working with, as I told you, with the Poland fashion designing. even here I can show a few slides if it's possible. If not, I will send you by mail.
Yeah, absolutely. Do send.
I don't know, here it's sharing screen.
I think I think you can send through email, Daniel.
Better.
I will
Yes,
share
better.
I will share here Mainda's email for anyone who has any other questions want to discuss further. Can also send to her. And we had a question here from I don't know if I'm pronouncing correctly, Titalio, and she's asking if there is like a specific place, like a website where it's good to learn digital fashion skills.
I think there are a number of websites. So there isn't like a one-stop shop. It depends what you are trying to learn, because they are different, whether it's, I don't know whether it's in the design, whether it's on the visualization. I know companies like Motif do digital training, and also a lot of these companies that produce the software tools, most of them have training videos, whether on YouTube or on their platforms, all the way from Unreal Engine. They've been doing a digital skills. I think they have a new digital skills module. Adobe have a lot of programs. Companies like Browseware have these teachers. So yeah, I'm happy to share offline what I've found, but I would suggest just start looking even as simply as on YouTube to see what's out there. There is a lot of material. I think what is tricky is how to structure your learning so that you don't kind of get overwhelmed. Like, how do you start with the foundations? It's an area that I'm really interested in, and also very interested in helping students and young people just starting out in their careers. So definitely want to continue the conversation to try and think of like maybe putting together resources and kind of like maybe signposting people to maybe you can go here and try this. That would be really interesting, but I think you probably need to narrow it down to where you want to start or what interests you the most. And then from that, like what tools do you need and so forth.
Thank you, Mainda. We also have a question here from Michelle Ornati. Thank you, Mainda, for this interesting presentation. Are you involved in the eTry-on European research?
Yes, we are. I'm not individually, but our R&D team are involved in eTry-on. So yeah, do go and have a look, talk to us, look out for opportunities for internships. If you're a student, that's what I would encourage you to do.
Thank you, Maria. Anyone have any other questions that want to share? Here. Okay. If like who can, if wants, and if want to start sharing the video so we can take a print screen also and use on our campaigns and launch also this form. You are more than welcome now to turn on the camera if you can. If not, it's all good.
Yeah, please do. And that's really a call from us. This is, as I said, it's a start of a conversation. We are curious to know what you're doing and thinking. So do complete the survey and just participate to share your own perspective. There is a section after each part of the survey where you can add your own comments, and I'll be very interested to read them and see what you think. And hopefully by the time we do this next year, we'll have kind of moved on and built on our ideas. So do encourage
Precisely. And we will share the results also of this forum that we're creating, and we'll share with our whole community so we can have also a bigger perspective of what everyone thinks about. Okay.
That's great.
Yes.
Well, thank you everyone, and thanks Pedro and Jordana, and yeah, hopefully see you in not so long and see you somewhere else virtually.
Thank you, Mainda. Thank you, everyone. See you soon.
Right. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.